Hey, welcome. I hope that's a screenshot with my hand on my chin when we do when the show comes up wherever on all the different places. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, you know what to do. Please subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. If you're watching on just regular, ordinary social media, we're streaming to Facebook and LinkedIn. Please give us a thumbs up. It helps the rest of your contacts see the content we're putting out here. It's good stuff, it's educational. Couple of things stocks. There's three major averages that you follow. We all do: the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P, and the Nasdaq. Two of those three keep hitting record high after record high. Which is the one that's not working as far as hitting new highs, and why? And September, first winning September in 5 years. And I want to talk to you a little bit about something personal that I want to share with you because it could help you. So let's just roll the intro and we're going to have a good show. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comments. I love hearing from you. It's the best part about doing this. Say hi, something in the comments. I want comments, for crying out loud. And if you're watching this in the replay, I want to welcome you too. Okay. Just watch it now as if you're watching it in the live stream because it's the same show. And, it's like evergreen stuff, right? Here we go. All right. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to have to change that introduction probably early next year because I use Next Financial Group as my broker dealer slash RIA for, almost 20 years. It's really remarkable. Next year will be 20 years, but we're going to be part of LPL, a different and much bigger broker dealer with much deeper pockets and a much bigger commitment to technology. So I'll have to change my disclaimers and disclosures at that time. Just food for thought. All right, so let's just take a look at the market here. I will make this a lot bigger. Do not despair. All right. Let's look at the major averages. By the way, when I say Dow Jones, S&P 500, Nasdaq Composite, you cannot invest directly into an index, but you could invest into a security that tracks or mimics an index. Okay. Um, so that is that. Dow Jones up 83 points. Nothing huge, but if you take a look, I want to get rid of that. If you take a look at the Dow today, though, it did reach a 52-week high today. So it's just been day after day, new highs. Man, oh man, that is winning, right? We are getting so bored of it. We need like another down market. But seriously, do you remember about a month ago, the Dow was down over 1,000 points in a day and people were freaking out? And we just stood our ground. This happens. Don't worry about it. All the things that you would expect an experienced financial advisor to say. And I think this is just, makes sense to you that don't panic, don't freak out over it, don't make hasty decisions. There's some weird thing going on with the Japanese yen carry trade that's starting to unwind, and it created a day sell off. And then there were those who said, this isn't over yet. I'd be very cautious. We're going to have more tremors from this earthquake that we just had. And here we are. Turns out September is a winning month. Remember, that day was earlier this month. We're having a winning month and first winning September in years. So just when everybody piles on and says, oh, September has to be a losing month because it's been like that the last couple of times, last couple of years, here we are. And it's been a pretty good month with the Dow hitting new highs. What else has been hitting new highs? The S&P 500 is new highs. We could see 6,000 on that. Listen, I have news for you. We could see that hit a double in the next 10 years. It's not a stretch. Market grows at 7.2%. It doubles in 10 years, the rule of 72. And the S&P 500 has over time done better than that. Now that's average. Not every 10-year rolling period is going to be the same. So I'm just saying there is potential based on historic performance, which is why you invest in the stock market. Okay. And that leads us to, where are we? Nope, 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 nope. Okay, so let's just take a look here at the Nasdaq. All right, the Nasdaq had a pretty decent day, up a half a point, half a percent, but it's just not rallying to new highs. And the reason for that is because of these stocks. These are the biggest stocks in the Nasdaq, and you see that little red up to the top there. That's how far they off from their highs. So most of these stocks are a little ways from their highs. So what's interesting is that the S&P and the Dow are hitting new highs. So you are seeing markets go up without a rip-roaring rally from the Magnificent Seven stocks. I think it's significant. It spells out that, or shows you that the market has broadened out into other sectors. And what could some of those sectors be? Well, one of them is IT. Now, this is IT, the tech sector. This is the index, S&P 500 information technology sector. There are ETFs that track these, but I'm going to actually look at the index itself. Okay, and this index is up year to date 28%. Pretty good, right? But if you take a look at, hope this is the right one, the financial sector, which hit a new high, I think, yesterday, but this one is up 19%. Still pretty good for a boring sector. So you're doing pretty good with boring sectors. It's just that technology stocks seem to have peaked earlier in the year, and now other sectors have taken the helm and are catching up. And then if you take a look at utilities, boring utilities, widow and orphan stocks, look at that chart from the last year. That is a pretty good looking chart. But these are up 25.87%, this index. So that's where money has been going to. And what is this one? I think we could, sorry, let me just get rid of this. Get rid of this. I think we just get rid of all of them. Okay, so let's get back here. So what's happening is you're seeing stocks other than technology go up. In fact, I saw a chart of tech stocks without the Magnificent Seven, and technology overall is not doing as well when you strip out, some of the big tech stocks like Nvidia. And I'm not knocking these. I'm not saying they can't go up more, or they can't go down more. This is a conversation that we would have as on a one-on-one basis, or you'd have that with your own financial advisor on a one-on-one basis. But this is why it's important to remain diversified, because I've seen markets before where one sector leads the way for so long that investors get accustomed to it, they get used to it, and that sector becomes such a large part of people's portfolios. And when that sector turns tide and goes down, it just has an outsized negative impact on their portfolio. All right, so I've seen it before, and in particular, technology in the 2000 tech wreck. Let's talk about estate planning and more important decisions that you have to make. I am at a stage in life where I am basically taking care of my mother, who has dementia. So I'm sharing a personal story. And luckily, I had planned and I had gotten her, you know, services and some benefits. And I was able to have her placed in a very kind, caring place that is pretty near to my house. So we visit. We visit pretty often. My kids visit. It's a good setup. But I'm talking to somebody else today who's going through this with his, not his wife, but it's somebody he's been living with for about the last, I'm going to say, 30 years. And it's all on him. And I'm talking to him about what he's done. And he said, well, I've been taking it to the geriatrician because, when somebody is elderly, the doctor they should go to is a geriatrician. People think the neurologist is who you go to, you bring your loved one to for dementia or other cognitive impairments, Alzheimer's, whatever you're looking for, whatever they could be afflicted with. but it's really a geriatrician, and the geriatrician is the one who makes the call of what the diagnosis is and what kind of dementia your loved one may have. It's more than just going to a neurologist. The neurologist is part of it, but the geriatrician determines which neurologist, what kind of tests they get. The neurologist just run the test and give a report to the geriatrician, but the neurologist is not the one who is in charge of your loved one's care, your loved one with cognitive disease or dementia. The neurologist just says, this is what it is, and that's it. But they're not the ones you go to for dispensing of medication and management of that person's symptoms from dementia and all the other things that they're going through. It's a geriatrician who does that. And I think that's where a lot of people make the mistake. However, my good friend who's taking care of a significant other, and she's not doing well, and the deterioration is becoming it's too obvious and apparent to hide. And what happens is when people go through this, they are afraid to leave their home. They get agitated when they leave. If they go out, they want to go home right after that. They have difficulty leaving their space. Sometimes they forget where they are. It's just a heartbreaking thing. Sometimes they could forget who you are. Then they could remember later. But you know, the decline from cognitive impairments like dementia, age-related cognitive diseases, and it's not just old people getting these things, it's people who are younger also, unfortunately. But it's not like a straight down chart. It's kind of like this. There's ups and downs. The trend is lower. I'm going to get this in the corner. The trend is lower, but it's not a straight line. Okay. So I'm talking to this, my friend, and he's waiting for the social worker at the doctor's office to get back to him. He's asking for information. There's nobody out there that's that's being a dementia or cognitive impairment or age-related cognitive impairment guide. This is a real business opportunity, by the way, if a professional wants to get into this, because they don't know who to go to. They don't know how to fill out the paperwork. They don't know how to fill out, uh, applying for community Medicaid, community-based Medicaid or Medicaid in general. They don't know how to take over someone else's uh, finances so that somebody could be helped along to pay for things. There's a lot that goes into it. So what I'm telling you is, if you are somebody in this position, and if you are living with somebody, or well, if you're married and you're over 50, these are the things that you need to have in a row. I know we all talk about estate planning a lot and how important that is, and it is very important. But part of this should be, what do we do if one of us needs that kind of care? Uh, an estate plan doesn't really do that. Yeah, it says maybe, a DNR, do not resuscitate order, things like that. It's not enough. And I see this over and more as people are living longer. My clients, some of them, a lot of my clients are elderly now. And I could see it, that the family becomes overwhelmed, and the amount of guilt that everyone has to keep, mom or dad in place and functioning, and who takes over everything. It's more than just a trust account. Sure, you have your assets in a trust account. One of the kids could be the trustee, but now that person has to manage it. That is a big job. Getting community Medicaid and all that. We need more guidance. Maybe that's something that I could instill into my business. So what am I telling you here? The bottom line, you need more planning, and you need to be able to, at a moment's notice, have your trusted contact person in your life take over for your finances. Unfortunately, there is a lot of room for abuse and stealing and all that, and that is a real shame. I just don't know what the answer is. Luckily, most people have a trusted person, but in my career, I've seen 2 cases suspected. Nothing was ever followed through, but I saw 2 suspected cases, meaning I thought that an adult aged child was not only overly managing their elderly parent, but I felt like everything was about making sure that they were inheriting everything, leaving their siblings out, and that they somehow were starting to use that money to pay for their own lifestyle. It happens. So what's the answer? It's really, really tough, but this is why you need trusted people. This is why you need to speak to an attorney, and this is why people need to get all their ducks in a row. It's pretty it's a pretty hard thing to do. It's very overpowering. But there is a way to do it just one time at a time. You have to just ask yourself, what happens if I become disabled? Someone's going to take care of you, right? But you become so disabled when you have dementia that eventually the people you live with, the person who's taking care of you, your caretaker, he or she can no longer do it. It becomes a full time and a half job. And you need to know what happens at that point. Where will you go? Where will you live? What information will be needed to file for Medicaid or put in a claim for a long term care policy, what have you? All this needs to be spelled out, and people just don't do it. I've seen people buy insurance policies and they wind up not using them because they knew about them, but their caretakers had no idea that they existed. All right, so I'm kind of beating this dead horse with a stick. No offense to dead horses, but if you have any suggestions, I'm open to it, and I want to wish you a good day. I hope I didn't leave this off on too much of a depressing content, but we're here to learn, and I only want to help people make their lives better from a financial perspective. A lot of this has to do with emotions, so I just want people to do better in life, to feel better, and that's why I'm touching on this. If I didn't care, I wouldn't say it. All right, I'll speak to you tomorrow, and thank you very much.